kids. I got full custody through family court, and I got permission to move out of state to be with my fiance. During that time, I had a neighbor who lived next to us, but I guess he friended her, and they started calling things cops out that had heroin needles and stuff, and the kids got taken away. So that case ended up with the kids staying with the father. 2017, the
Okay, we're back. My name is Attorney Vince Davis, and I'm on with my co-host Aaron Carranza, and we're here taking your calls. Aaron, you ready to take another call?
I am. We have Juliet from California. Juliet, do you have a question to ask or a story to tell?
story and a question.
All right.
I'm going to keep it brief because you kind of answered some of the stuff through hearing the rest of it. In 2012, I left my husband, who was extremely abusive. I have 8 kids, 5 older ones, 3 younger ones. After I left him, of course, he called social services about 30 times. They came out, they left, they didn't open a case. Then he kidnapped the kids. I got full custody through family court, and I got permission to move out of state to be with my fiance. During that time, I had a neighbor who lived next to us, but I guess he friended her, and they started calling things cops out that had heroin needles and stuff, and the kids got taken away. So that case ended up with the kids staying with the father. 2017, the father was arrested for having bombing fluid, bombs, meth lab, and 46 homemade handguns in his house. At that time, the girls were at their grandmother's house. They did not ever call me to get the kids. They automatically took them into the system. They told me the reason why is because I have a drug problem. I've never used drugs or alcohol. So went to court, and we went through the whole trial, 7:30 evaluation. Everything was going great for me. He was proven to be a narcissistic sadistic. The judge says that he cannot be around the children. In it just kind of said that I had depression from anxiety of the children being away from me. That everything was great. The next thing I know, we got switched to a different courtroom because he didn't like that judge. He said she was prejudiced. When we got to this new courtroom, within 2 months, my FR got taken away, and they've done nothing. I have done, even though I didn't have to, on my part, I didn't feel I have to do it because I'd never done drugs. I did 7 months of NA classes. I did hair follicle test. I did random drug testing. I do take one medication, Farinol with codeine, is for migraine headaches, and that is taken as needed. In my drug testing, they kept saying that I failed all my drug testing because it comes up with morphine, but morphine is a derivative of codeine. My doctors wrote the notes about it. He even went into the system to say she only goes to one pharmacy. Then I started seeing a drug counselor. He wrote, I've seen her now 3 months. She has no drug history with her whatsoever. My issue is that I've had 7 different attorneys, and this new attorney within this courtroom is telling me straight to my face, just stop lying, admit you got drug issues, go check yourself into rehab. So I've done my best. I've gone down to rehabs. I've gone down to other clinics. They tell me they can't take me because I don't have anything. The last thing he told me was last week was, why don't you just go do drugs, test positive for them, go in, and maybe you can get your kids back in a year.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I even wrote him an email. How can you tell me I'm going to report you for? And then he even told me to go into court and tell the court that I'm sorry that I lied for 4 years for not using drugs. That's saying I didn't use drugs when I have. But even my hair follicle test showed nothing. Even though they said I failed my test because just the codeine that's in the migraine medication, that was still a very small amount, and they knew I was taking that. So, and when we were in the first courtroom, I decided to stop taking it. And the judge told me, if you're on the medication by doctor prescription, do not stop taking it. So I continue to take it as prescribed, only it's not something you get on the street. So even though where they show, how much codeine's in your system, mine was at a very low point. There's never been anything more. I have no history of drugs, been arrested or anything. So my kids ended up being with my neighbor, who wasn't really my friend, but my husband friended her. The kids were taken out last month. My daughter started reporting abuse, a while back ago. I kept telling the worker. Finally, my daughter sent me the videos or the recordings of the abuse going on in the home, which was really, talking about beatings and throwing them and hitting them. It took them 3 months to get my kids out of the house and put into my daughter's house. Even though these are people that do not belong to our family, a friend of ours, they were there for 3.5 years. This case has been open for almost 4 years. I don't have any FR. I don't have the right to see my kids except for supervised visits once a week. They're still trying to put the kids back with the father, even though they can't find him. He refuses to do a walkthrough on the house. He skipped out on everything. He's failed his drug test and everything. But so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have my 14-year-old daughter here visit right now and my 12-year-old daughter. And I did see that there's a form or something that they can do to ask the judge to stop, to not take away my parental rights, because they do want to live with mom. They don't want to go back to their dad. They've been reporting because the dad, I'm talking about abusive, like shooting me, stabbing me, throwing me out of buildings, abusing the kids, hitting the kids. He told my 12-year-old daughter he's going to kill her because she looks like me. It's not normal abuse. This is like out of the control abuse. These kids cannot go back there, but they're trying to push for June 24th. We go back to court. They want to push the kids back to him, and I have no rights. And my attorney just keeps telling me, just stop lying, just admit you got the drug problems, go to rehab, do what you got to do, and stuff. And I don't even think the judge knows. I've done three 388s. And each time he just puts minute little things in there. And in January, the judge says, "Oh, well, I'm glad that okay, maybe she doesn't do drugs, but too bad she didn't do any classes." But from 2017, 18, 19, I did all my classes. I done more classes. I even went out of my way and did even more classes. I used to be I used to run a rehab center. So, and that's the thing is I knew because when my husband got into drugs and got arrested and went to rehab, I started running that rehab center. So, and I got away from him because of the drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and the physical, mental, and emotional abuse to me and the kids. So I don't know where I stand at this point, that I have no rights to my kids. They're going to put them back with a father who, has done all these crazy things and yet was caught with these guns in the girls' room and meth, and he failed his drug test. But then all of a sudden, I guess he got one letter saying, "Oh, he's doing a lot better." But this new judge, for some reason, when I walk into the courtroom, I feel like she just doesn't look at me. She doesn't even acknowledge me. I'm not in the courtroom. And with this attorney, he will not fight for anything for me. And he will not, even the 388s, the updated letters that I've gotten from counselors and my doctors and drug testing I've done on my own, he says the courts don't care to hear about that. They just want you to admit you use drugs. So I said, well, I can't get into rehab. What do you want me to do? I said, are you telling me I have to go do drugs to get tested?
2 minutes.
Rehab? Because, if you have to do a dirty test, do a dirty test. Go into rehab. Do it for 6 months. You might get your kids back.
Right. Well, I've been doing this a long time. I've never thought of that strategy. Not that it's well thought out. But listen, when you do a 388 and they were denied, did you file a notice of appeal?
I'd asked him to help me do the notice of appeal, and he refuses to do so. He says the judge doesn't care. The judge doesn't want to know anything. I'm not going to bother. And when he even did, I even put together my own 388. I put it together and gave him all the proof of everything. I gave letters of all my classes I went to, the NA classes, the drug testings, all these things, what medications. when I gave it to him, I said, I want you to file this. He took out probably about 10 pages and left in one letter from my doctor. He didn't leave in the hair follicle test. He didn't leave in the NA classes. He didn't leave in any of that stuff.
That's
So
interesting.
3 times
Hey,
I
Juliet.
just got ignored.
Juliet, my engineer is telling me we got to take a break. Listen, I want you to write down my telephone number and call me tomorrow and leave a message, and I'll get back with you maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week, and we can talk more in detail. 888-888-6582. 888-888-6582. Juliet, thank you for calling. Thank you for listening. Call back in a few weeks. Give us an update on what's going on with your case. And we're going to be right back after these messages with more calls, more questions, and more stories.